Welcome back. This is part 2 of the 2024 4-H Beef Show. Thank you for tuning in.
So Class 11 just coming in there, and we're going to kick it off right here, Class 12. Mackenzie, I'm just getting in today. You guys had a great day at the fair, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Hey, appreciate all your efforts. What do we got in this next class, Kenzie? Talk to me about it.
This next class, well, I think we're about to do the lightweight beef feeder champion, bringing back in all the champions to get the lightweight champions.
Right, so you got the lightweight feeders coming back in here. They're going to try to punch a spot into the grand drive later, as we all like to talk about this week. I am thrilled to be back with you and our students here from BTV on behalf of Auburn Essentials and your community network, bringing you tonight's programming. So we're glad that you're tuning in. My name's Jed Friels. I'm going to be here for part of the beef show here and keep calling that for you tonight, along with all my interns here. Kenzie, you guys have had a good day, though. It's been a busy day.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah, dairy all day today. I was watching on the TV while I was in school, and it looked like there was a lot of great dairy beef throughout the day. Well, tonight you can see our lightweight feeders. When we talk about this a little bit, you got different steers represented out here. You got this black and this red. You know, you've got the Angus or the main Anjou, if he may be right there. And then you look at that shorthorn coming in at the back there. The judge has got to pick out which one he thinks is going to be best going to market to represent these lightweight feeder calves. Again, all these kids trying to punch a ticket into the grand drive later on, and hopefully they'll be able to show their steer and find out exactly where they stack up with all the rest of these great steers in the barn tonight. When he's talking, and then turn it back down when he's not. We got a stubborn one there, right there. That sure happens this time of year. These calves have been worked, then brought to the fair and told to stand around, and all of a sudden, there they are. So, hey, what we've got here, the judge didn't take real long on that class. Obviously, he's seen these steers earlier today, so in their respective classes, so it didn't take him long to stack them right up there. So Brock McCartney's going to win that right there as he walks out, contestant number 103 with his lightweight feeder. That steer was a 313-pound steer, so not a super heavy. They're trying to pick the reserve lightweight feeder here.
We heard his name a lot this morning, too, with the dairy classes. He was winning a lot with the dairy classes.
You know, and Kinsey and you and I talked a little bit about this in the sheep show. If you're going to bring one, you might as well bring multiples. Try to punch a ticket, try to get yourself into the auction in multiple ways. And what ends up happening for us there as we punch that ticket into the lightweight steers, you know, Brock's been working really, really hard, so he's got another opportunity to get into that particular drive. And again, one of the things I really like about that class is, Brock brings this steer in there and at 343 pounds, not able to show all of his conformation off yet, but the judge saw enough to punch him a ticket into the grand drive so that he can get in there. So that's an exciting time. We got that lightweight feeders out of the way now. You're going to move into the medium weight beef steers. The thing you got to remember now, we got a little bit more weight on carcass now. We're going to be able to see a little bit more definition. We'll see a few more things that are happening. Big shout out to all of our people that are making it possible here at the DeKalb County 4-H Fair, especially those people that have been helping out announcing throughout the day, those people that have been continued to work on different aspects. So, yeah, that's really, really exciting about what we've got happening. Waiting on Class 12 coming in. So what you guys have for lunch today? I'm just curious.
I had some chili that I brought.
You brought chili, and Fiona's rocking popcorn.
I also had tater tots this morning.
Faith was up by lunch. Okay, just double check in there. Wanted to make sure. Didn't want to put you on the spot or anything on like TV or anything. So, was it better than the meatloaf last night, Faith? No. You had loaded tater tots earlier today. Okay, so that's a good call right there. I don't blame you. I might have put the tater tots ahead. Where'd you find those loaded tater tots? Oh, Mackenzie found them earlier today, huh?
Yes, I did not get the loaded ones. I just got plain tater tots.
You know,
but-
I love the loaded tater tots here. I love them to death, okay? But, you know, I keep thinking in my mind I can stop at Walmart on the way home and buy a bag of frozen tater tots for $3,
yeah.
or I'm going to pay the double price for half as much, but loaded
Yeah.
here. And, I don't know.
I think I got like a regular tater tot for $6, and Faith's loaded were $16.
There you go. Well, hey, here we got a great-looking class of medium-weight beef feeders. Kinsey, read us who's in this class and give us their weights for us.
Coming in, Brantley Aldrich, 145. He's coming in with a 442-pound. Addison Gale, 127, coming in with a 442-pound, the same as the last one. Evan
Polinsky, I believe it is. Yeah.
Sure, okay. Coming in with a 437-pounder, and then Stella Dinkerhoff coming in with a 479.
So, you know, those steers are really, really close. One of the things we like to do here is get steers stacked up that are going to weigh very similar so that our judge can take a look at steers that have been finished out about the same. And again, these are our feeder steers, okay? This is a mixed lightweight feeder steers coming in here, and you can see them. They're really stacking up nice. Our judge is taking a look at them and trying to say, okay, which one of these steers is going to also get a chance to compete for that best steer. Judge wants to move them on out there. All these kids doing a really nice job setting their calves up. You'll notice they're continually trying to get the judge the best look that he can. I keep remembering when my kids were showing a lot. You know, sometimes we worked more on showmanship than we did on other things. You know, and once we got the steer trained, it was about what do I have to do to make sure the judge gets a really good look. And I don't want to miss a cue. If the judge asks me to turn or the judge asks me to move, he might not ask me again. So I've got to be paying attention. I've got to make sure I'm watching what's happening. And these kids are doing a really, really nice job out there. Of course, it is worth reminding to our audience that the judge right now is not judging the contestant here. The judge is judging the steer. These contestants will get judged later tonight in showmanship, but it's still the contestant's job to try to set them up the very, very best that they can.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they are coming around. Judge taking a really, really close look at this medium weight beef feeder steer group. Again, we got Brantley Aldridge is out there. Addison Gell, Evan Polinsky, Stella Dickeroff, all showing what they've done here with these steers, trying to get them out there and let our judge take a look at what he likes the best. You'll see as the evening goes on, obviously we get into some of these heavier steers, we're going to be able to see how they finish a little better, maybe what they've got to bring to the market. Again, our judge is taking a look at what do these steers have to offer the market. You know, if we're going to send them out and we're going to try to get as many good retail cuts as we can, we're going to finish them out, what do they bring to market? I mean, that's the sole purpose here. We've got these steers out there. We know we're going to finish them out. We're going to head them to market. And, you know, which one does our judge feel like is going to finish out the best and be able to provide the best quality product for the people out there? Got a variety of different kinds of them out here. You know, we've got some really, really nice blacks, Ménageurs, Anguses. We got some nice shorthorns. We got some nice reds. You know, as we take a look at those, every kid's got his own preference on what kind of steer he likes. You know, I mean, I live in the Angus world. We raise red and black Angus, and, you know, that's where our commercial herd lives, and we try to get steers to market as quickly as we can and quality as we can. But I also like the specialty breeds. I have some belted Galloways that I keep on a separate herd because I like their disposition. They might not get to market as fast, but I like their disposition and what they do. And Mackenzie, it's kind of like dogs. Everybody's got their own kind of dog they like. What kind of dog do you like, Mackenzie?
Well, we have a golden doodle because my mom's allergic to.
Oh, so that's working out really well.
Yeah.
And we have a Burma doodle because my wife is the same, and she loves him, and he's a great dog. But the same way in the cattle industry, people have a breed that they like and that they get connected to, and then you continue to use that breed. And so we're seeing a good variety of that tonight in our steer show here. What's been the highlight of your show today so far, ladies? You've had a great day. Mackenzie, talk to me about what you've seen that you were really impressed by.
I think my favorite part has been all the kids that are really able to control their cows, because there have been some that have gotten loose from their people, and it's just really impressive to see some people who have worked so much with their cows that you can tell that they really have their cow trained and the cow knows to respond to it.
It really does show up in the ring. Now, I won't say that a cow sometimes doesn't get in the mood. Well, let's listen to what the judge has to say here, and we'll see what he says. There you go. That's the judge's opinion, and what happens there, whether we agree or not, all night we're looking at what the judge is looking for. I do think the judge gave us a glimpse into what he's looking for a little bit. He talked about that forerib up there and what the calf had to offer there, some prime cuts, and then he talked about the length of that particular steer there. I know when I'm looking over cattle and I'm grading cattle, I love length because, it may just mean an extra set of T-bones across the top. It may mean a little bit more prime. It may mean a little nicer roast in the rear. And all of a sudden, if I've got length, I know I might have a couple more cuts. And when we get to the grocery store, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's going to put value in the meat case. And if we can do that with a calf, that's what we're absolutely looking for. So, hey, we got another group now coming in. Kenzie, these are a little heavier steers. Talk to me about these steers and where they're weighing in at.
These ones class 13, I believe. We have Addison Gale coming in with a 534. This class ranges from 534 to 555. We have Reese Williams coming in with a 535. We have Rylan Albaugh coming in with a 550, and Maddox Brown coming in with a 555.
So here you go. This could be our last class of mediums, okay? And then we're going to get into the heavies. And again, all these steers trying to find a way to come to the top of their classes. But we got another group of nice medium steers. Kenzie, I love the fact that these steers are really, really close, though. Like you said, they're ranging from 534 to 555. So they're all within 21 pounds. gives the judge a really, really nice look at cattle that are even. But when you look out there, you can see some of these cattle are taller, some of these cattle are shorter, some of these cattle are set up just a little bit better. But they all weigh within 21 pounds. So they obviously have different conformation, and we talk about conformation a lot. Where does one cow carry his 534 pounds compared to another cow carrying his 534 pounds? Are they carrying it in the right place for this judge? That's what we're here about tonight. And, we already know he put some long steers up front. He likes them up front. What's he looking for? So we'll see what he does this class. Is he going to go with a heavier steer by 20 pounds? Or is he going to go with a steer that maybe it might set a little lower to the ground here, but maybe he has a lot to offer what he feels up front and in length of loin and other places. So we'll see what our judge had to say. All four of these calves looking just great. These kids have done a phenomenal job of getting them prepared for the show. They've got them all looking really sharp right now. They've got them all bathed and they got their hair done. We know how much time it takes to get our hair done and get everything ready, okay, especially you girls, okay? Although I will say, you girls roll in here at 7 o'clock in the morning looking good. So keep up good work, ladies, all right, Fiona? Faith, oh, that's right. Did you roll in at 7? No.
How long does it take to do your hair in the morning?
Oh, thanks. I appreciate you throwing me under the bus there, Mackenzie. But, I get up early. I make sure I actually shave every day, okay? It takes me a little longer than you might think, okay? I actually grow a rod of hair, okay? It's just not in the right places, all right? So I make sure I get it all shaved off. There, so, stop. These kids doing a great job here getting them set up. Of course, we see this cat being a little stubborn out there. But, the thing is, like we talked about, boy, they came to the fair last weekend. They've been over in their stalls. Now they're out. They're getting a chance to go for a walk,
We had a few that were laying down and rolling around during showmanship in the dairy show this morning.
Oh, my goodness. There you go. They do have a mind of their own.
Yeah.
Well, there they go. Our judge is going to get a really nice side look again. And, again, we're talking about 4 steers that stack up really close in weight here, within 20 pounds, but they all look different. So, the conformation-wise, are they carrying that extra weight? Are they carrying that weight where our judge is looking for? There you go. He's going to pull them out and place them where he thinks they go. And, you can take a look here. We got a steer that, and our judge is going to talk about him, but got some nice length, but really finished out, and it's heavy. Going to stack these in here.
A nice set of calves here as we come into this next class here in this feeder steer division. So we come up here on this top end, young man's black calf is going to lead off this class. Just really complete this type of kind. I think when he gets out here for me, blends extremely well here in this go around. I think certainly he's a calf that has that pop when we start to get into the muscle shape right into that top of that shoulder. He's got that thickness out of that hip, but I like him in terms of that looseness of rib and evidence of feeding ability at this point of the juncture. I think on that profile, deep enough body, deep enough flank, and he blends well as we go right into that fore rib and into that hard girth up on that front end. Like how the calf that comes next in this lineup, in terms of muscle shape, I think he's heavy enough muscle to this lineup. I think he's heavier muscle than some of the other calves here in this particular go round. Now, he's thick enough to lay down that top. He turns with a lot of muscle shape right over that point edge. Now, in this lineup, he comes off clean, just a little more rounded in terms of the way he's designed. A little shorter hips, a little shorter from hooks to pins, not as level top as that calf that leads off the class. Young lady's calf that comes next to this line. It's an interesting calf here in this go round because I think he's long enough body, he's smooth enough fronted, he's long enough fronted. Now, right now, comes off being just a little flatter about that rib shape at this point of the juncture. There's nothing wrong with that. I think he's just a little greener. We just need to give him some time to continue to grow and develop into himself because he's up-headed enough. He's level enough top. I just like to see a little more overall looseness of rib shape in this class to move him on up here in this go-round. Young lady's calf that's next here in this lineup, keep enough body type of a calf. A calf I think gives you a lot of rear rib shape to it. Now, structure-wise, I'd like to change him a little bit. I think he wants to drop right behind the point of that shoulder a little bit more. So he's out just a little bit more off of those front legs, and instead of being out off those back legs, not as complete, not as long strided as some of those other calves here in this particular go-around. But a nice set of calves in the lineup. So let's give them all another nice big round of applause.
Well, there you go. And we heard a little bit more about what our judge is looking for tonight. He was talking about muscle definition. He was talking about, the stiffness of the muscle that he's looking for and the mass of the muscle that he's looking for. Keep in mind, when he's talking about muscle, we're talking about meat cuts.
Yeah.
When we look at a nice roast in a display case, or we look at a nice set of T-bones or a nice set of, loins coming in there, we're talking about muscle. and our judge is judging the amount of muscle, and he definitely liked those top two as a result of that. Our lighter two steers, or our two steers at the bottom of the class, didn't quite have that for our judge. It'll be interesting if he carries that same through to our bigger show when we get up there and these steers really start looking tough. All right, well, now you see those 4 steers coming back in here. We're looking for the champion medium weight beef feeder. Now, these are the first and second calves that were just in the last 2 classes, and you can see them coming back in here. Now, keep in mind, we had this little lightweight medium red steer here at the top of the class. On the lighter weights, we had that nice black steer out there, number 13, coming at the top of that class that was just left the ring. And our judge is really analyzing right now. He knows he put those 2 in the top, and he's going to try to take a look at which one of those 2 steers he thinks is the champion medium weight steer. He's got the reserves back here behind him. So he's going to go out and shake a hand here. Kind of thought it was going to go to the heavier calf. He really liked that calf when he was in the ring earlier. He liked the length. He liked the muscle definition. Now the question is, does he like the reserve from that little heavier calf, or does he like this red calf here? You got this younger calf here shown by Maddox Brown stepping up there, that brown calf. Our judge really liked him in that heavier class, but he's got to pick a reserve now. Most likely going to go to one of those 2. And he is going to pick the lighter calf. There you go. Going to pick Addison Gell's calf, coming in at 442. See, the calf's 100-pound lighter than that other calf, but he still saw something that he liked, something that calf had potential to develop into. And that's what we're looking for, a judge that's not just going to give it to the bigger cow, but a judge that's kind of looking for that calf that's got something to offer and be able to give something to the market when it gets ready to go. All right, well, that concludes our medium weight beef feeder steers. What do we got coming up next, Mackenzie?
Coming up next with the heavyweight, we have James Clifford coming in with a 560. Again, there's a 10-pound range within this class. We have Caden Brown coming in with a 562, Reese Williams coming in with a 565, and then Colby Fuller coming in with a 570.
Yeah, so we got to remember these are what we call feeder classes. These are not cows that have been finished out. Okay, we're going to get into that part of our show in just a little bit later when we talk about our market steers and when we talk about our market heifers. Those are steers and heifers that are ready for the market. These are cattle that are coming in here that somebody's going to buy to take home and feed out. And that happens to a lot of us. For example, we feed out only a few steers. We sell a lot of our calves to the feeder calf market because we don't have facilities to continue to feed out all of our calves. We get them up to about 650, 700 pounds, and we're going to move them on to a feeder that has the room to go ahead and finish them out. We'll keep enough to feed out for ourselves and maybe sell to our friends and a few people like that. But to keep an entire group of steers is tough. So there's a real good market for the feeder steer market. And some of these steers you're seeing right now, I wouldn't be afraid to buy and take home if I was finishing cattle at all. They're all going to finish out really, really nice. They're going to be grade A beef going into the case, and people are going to like that, you know. Well, here they come. They're bringing some really, really nice calves into the arena now, these feeder steers. Which one's your favorite one, Mackenzie?
I really like the light brown, like the fluffier ones.
You're just like my wife. He's got they're a little different colors, so he looks a little different out there. And they've also got a really good haircut on him. But keep in mind, our judge is not necessarily judging the haircut. These cattle have been trimmed. We call it fitted, all right? And they've been fitted to look good. And, you know, sometimes I think in this industry, we do get caught up in the fitting sometimes, and we get caught up in the hair show, we like to say. But overall, it does show that our contestants are also taking really, really good care of our cattle and know exactly what they're doing. But our judge's job is to come out here and not see who's got the best haircut. His job is to come out here and tell us what's going to put the best calf to market. Who's going to be our best marketable steer for a feedlot. Really good-looking calves in this class. We got 2 classes of this tonight, so another 8 feeder steers coming in here tonight. Actually, you know, Kinsey, I think there's 3 of these heavyweight beef feeders. No, there's only 2. Yeah, a couple of classes.
Yeah, there's one more coming in. Then after these heavies, after we get the champion in reserve for the heavyweight, they're going into the grand champion of all the beef feeders.
Yeah, and then we'll get that. All those beef feeders will get back out together, and we'll see. And then we'll start into our steers and our market heifers, you know. And of course, the very first steer in tonight's going to be the belted Galloway steer. You know, I'm a little partial to that. Okay, so we'll take a look at that. But no, like I said, I also love the Gel beefs and I love the Angus. You know, I think all cattle, you know, if you're going to put your time into it and raise good quality beef, you end up falling in love with a breed. And I think that's what's so cool about this. These kids get to experience different breeds and get to get out there and really show some great cattle. We definitely have a lot of different cattle here. And again, you know, we talked about this already tonight, Mackenzie, but these calves are all within 10 pounds.
Yeah.
So our lightest calf is 560, and our heaviest calf is 570. But when you take a look out there, you know, you like that light brown steer, but his muscle conformation and how he's carrying himself is completely different than the steer following him.
Yeah.
So what's our judge looking for? Is our judge looking for more muscle definition? He's looking for that calf to be longer. What's he looking at? We've already heard him talk about, you know, up front. He likes that forerib and that area there. Are they developed and they putting muscle up there that's going to turn into money? Okay, is the carcass going to be well balanced? Is the front quarter going to provide as much value as the back quarter? Not traditionally, but if we can get a calf that's going to carry himself well both, then we're going to be able to put that steer out there and hopefully market him to the highest dollar. You know, our judge is really taking a look now, looking for the steer that he likes. Well, he already started at the bottom of the class. Well, this is not surprising me. We talked about this earlier. Our judge really liked muscle. He really liked what he saw.
Let's give these viewers a nice big round of applause here as we move into this next class here in this beef feeder division. I think a really nice set of calves here in this particular go-around. The young man's calf is going to lead off this class. Just a super powerful type of a steer here in this lineup. I think for me, just a load of rib shape and dimension of this guy. Very complete about the way he comes together. I think certainly in terms of muscle shape, a lot of power in this guy when you start to get out of that hip into that top of that front end and into that shoulder. But I think for me, as big muscle and big shape as he is, he's smooth enough as we get into that shoulder. I think he gives you enough extension to there. And I think certainly gives you enough in terms of long-term, that evidence of feeding ability going forward. So very, very complete. We think the muscular type calf here to lead off the class. Calf is going to be next here in this lineup. I like this guy in terms of length of body. I think he gives you a lot of length from flank to flank. I think he gives you a lot of extension up into that front end. He's not as heavy muscle, not as strong right into the top of that shoulder in comparison to that class winner. But I think certainly he's got the parts and pieces as well. I think he's got the frame, he's got the structure to carry some fat finished weight to it. I like him in terms of the way he balances into that shoulder and extends into that front end. Calf that's next in this line, it's kind of an interesting calf here in this go-round. I think certainly when you analyze him in terms of muscle shape, he's thick enough down that top, he's smooth enough shoulder, he's long enough front, and he's got enough thickness out of that hip in that center quarter. Where I get a little critical of him is he comes off being this lineup. Enough depth of body, enough rear rib shape to it. Not as evenly balanced here in this go round. Starts to get a little bolder about that shoulder. Not as heavily muscled when we get right over to that point edge in terms of muscle shape out of that hip. But a really nice set of calves in that go round. So let's give them one more nice big round of applause.
Well, there again, we saw our judge go for the heavier calf, the muscled-out calf. Even though those calves were within 10 pounds, Mackenzie, he went with the calf that was more developed, more muscular. That bigger frame calf, which he said was long, and he liked everything about it, just not as defined. And again, it comes down to what the judge is looking for. You know, when the frame is not quite as developed, sometimes I have to look down the road and say, is that calf going to have enough frame to carry the muscle when he's 1,200 pounds?
Yeah.
And for me, I like those bigger framed cows. I like their ability to put muscle on and make sure that happens. But everybody's judging conformation different. Everybody's looking for something different in their classes. This next class, Mackenzie, who we got coming in?
Looks like we only have 3 in this class. It'll be Addison Brown with a 582, Bo Martin with a 590, and Avery Fuller with a 598.
Well, there you go. Again, we've got a really, really close class here. We got only 16 pounds difference in the class, giving our judge a really, really nice opportunity to take a look at some cattle that are even and hopefully really, really well balanced. Got 3 very, very similar calves in the ring this time. Our last class, we had one calf that was definitely different. That class that he put to the top of the class was definitely a muscled-out class that carried himself extremely well. All 3 of these cows are very, very similar. These steers walk in here, like we said earlier, they're within 16 pounds of each other, and conformation-wise, they are all really similar.
Yeah.
Putting our feet up, and then you're not going to know what's happening, or we're going to have to get an HDMI or a Cat 5 cord to go completely over. The only problem was to do that, we got to mess our stream up. We got to mess with what we're doing.
What's that one? Where's it coming from and why is it all bunched up? No, but she did give me her phone number to call her for that, yeah. Call her right now. Get our own.
And then we take care of all the TVs. So then there's no question about it. And then we bring our own monitor to where we're going to watch that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I like the idea of quick fix this year, but I think we just got to do that. And then even if we lose the stream, we don't lose the TV.
Yeah.
But we can't do it now without splitting what's actually coming out of the switcher. Well, hey, back with you. And sorry about that. We were talking about some technical things we got going on here, but we're thrilled you're listening.
Some differences of calves here, and we start to put the parts and pieces together here in this particular lineup. But, you know, we're kind of coming up here on this top end, and the young lady's calf is going to lead off this class. I think this is a little more correct in terms of the way he's designed, in terms of structure here in this go-round. I think he's a little smoother when we start to get in terms of the muscle shape down that top, right into the top of that shoulder. I think he gives you a little enough thickness in terms of muscle shape out of that hip down into that lower cycle, but I think he blends well here in this go-round. I think in this lineup, he's the calf usually more for
And again, our judge talks about not as heavy muscle. He really likes that up front. We're going to bring them back in here. I'm going to be really surprised if he doesn't choose that light tan skier again because he was so muscled and he really liked it, but we'll see what happens. But again, I think you got to remember when a calf starts carrying weight, way down on their legs, or we're carrying it in the places which aren't high dollar cuts, we want that calf carrying his weight in the cuts that are going to make us money. So when we're going out there to grade that beef, how am I going to send that to the processors and to the packers to get the most commercial cuts I can out of it and the most expensive cuts I can out of it? Because there's no doubt, I want an extra 10 pounds of steak, not an extra 10 pounds of hamburger. Now, either way, I'd much prefer 10 pounds of hamburger over 10 pounds of fat. So, you can overfeed a steer, overcondition a steer. So I appreciate our judge, really, really taking a close look at what muscle definition is and muscle character as opposed to where they're just carrying weight. And it not necessarily is always good weight. Well, here you got your champion and your reserve back in the ring for our grand champion medium beef feeder. Again, our judge is really taking a look at all 4 of these cattle already once tonight.
Again, we are doing our heavyweight beef feeder steer champion and reserve, overall champion and reserve right now. And then after we get this champion and this reserve champion, we are going into the overall beef feeder grand champion.
Yeah. A lot of champions being crowned tonight. Yeah, just not much question in our judge's mind there which one of those was the most outstanding medium weight heavy steer. You knew when coming in that he was going to lead to that muscle cow. And again, you just don't know. That cow's going to get tall. He's got to put on another 700 pounds yet. He's got to finish out. Girls are keeping him moving, trying to keep him under control. Going to come down here. And so Jimmy Clifford's going to walk out there with a champion. He's done a really nice job showing his calves over the last couple of years. So coming in there, getting a nice championship trophy to take home. Well, that concludes our medium champions. Now they're going to take a look at the feeder steers that we've seen. Now, again, we saw light ones. We saw those mediums come in here, and now he's going to crown a champion on those lights, those mediums, and those heavies. Kenzie, what's your guess? Where's our judge going to go with it all?
I don't know. I'm still really liking that light brown one. I think it was, we heard the morning judge, the dairy judge, talk a lot about just because one calf is taller doesn't necessarily mean that you want like the taller, the biggest calf, because it can be harder to fill it out like once you get it home and actually try to get it into like a market steer.
See, look at you. You're learning all about steers today. I love that. But no, you're absolutely right. And, I think one of the reasons our judge has been leaning towards that light tan steer is because he is well balanced, and he's not super tall, and he's not really big framed, but he's really muscled out right now. But he has enough frame that he thinks, our judge thinks, he's going to be able to carry it until he hits that 1,200 pound mark, or whenever his feeder decides that he's going to be done and going to head out to market. Fiona, I didn't get a chance to talk to you last night. I know you don't have your headset on about the chickens, but thumbs up or thumbs down last night? Was it a long night or did you have fun? Okay, too long a night or? Yeah, there was a lot of chickens there, wasn't there?
I got called back in at like 9, and I was here till midnight
Oh my
working on
God.
the on the poultry show.
Till midnight?
Yeah.
Talk to me about what happened there.
I don't know. They were just taking forever. Like the poultry judge was like really taking her time on showmanship towards the end, and like even in the regular classes, she was just taking her time picking out those chickens.
So it went till midnight last night,
Yeah.
our show. Wow. Well, kudos to you guys for working overtime and keep bringing it to our viewers.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we got some good. Did you learn anything about chickens, Fiona?
I already knew what I knew, but I learned more about how chickens are showed.
There you go. Well, and that's part of it too. Like you're already raising chickens, so you know what's happening. But watching them show, you learn a whole different, part of the business.
Maybe you
how
could
do you
show
show off your
chickens
chickens?
next year, Fiona.
There you go.
My little brother is.
Your little brother
Oh,
is
you
going
can
to.
get- add your
Nice.
brother in.
Well, maybe we can get him hooked up with some really nice Plymouth rocks, and he can show in the older class. There you go. That's what I keep around my place is Plymouth rocks. I'm a little partial to them, but I got some eyes of reds right now. So there you go. Well, I'm looking at the class here, and I'm watching our judge, and we're keeping an eye on all of these steers. But I can't help but think that our judge is not going to go with this light tan steer. But I might be all totally wrong. Mrs. Friels is sitting out in the crowd tonight. She's been to a lot of cattle things with me. And her and I try to guess who's going to win always. And we're never the same, okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're not right. And Mrs. Friels sometimes is more right than I am.
I think a nice set of cats here in this go round. Obviously, some differences in their weight of where they're at at this point in the juncture. But, she's starting to put the parts and pieces together here in this particular lineup. There's a cat that I just really like. This guy comes out here. He's got a lot of power to him. He's got a lot of mass to him. I think certainly he's got enough dimension to him all the way around. I think he's square enough out of that hip. He's square enough when you get right behind him. You like him, honestly, when you get right in front of him in terms of that skeletal width and dimension through that chest board. The way he goes into that shoulder and the way he pops in terms of foregrip, in terms of feeding ability going forward. I think this guy just comes out here and kind of takes over the show, and in my opinion, in terms of the way he puts it time, in terms of that overall volume capacity and muscle shape and dimension. I think certainly not only it is good here in this lineup, but I think certainly has a bright future ahead as a fat finish steer on down the road. So let's give these exhibitors one more nice big round of applause. I think a really nice set of feeder steers. Overall, second champion here in this lineup.
Well, here we go, Kenzie. There you go. I got one picked right. Coming right into the tan. Okay.
Yeah.
Reese Williams does a really nice job with his cap. We talked about fitting a little while ago. Kenzie, he did a great job fitting his steer. I want to remind you
Yeah.
that steer is only 10 pounds heavier than the rest of these steers. But he did a great job of having him fit, having him bathed, having his hair standing up. He may even have looked bigger than he really was.
Yeah.
Like his muscle mass was definitely shown off by the way he was fit and by the way he was cut. And you can take a look at a couple of our other steers that are not quite fit as well, but they weigh the same. They're within 9 pounds. They're within 8 pounds of that championship steer. But yet he looked so muscular. So there's a lot that goes into these projects, and these kids have to work hard to make sure their steer is fit, groomed, ready to show, so that judge can get the very, very best look possible.
Well, let's get my these cats up here to select your reserve here in this overall feeder steer division. Now, where I'm going to go is a cat that I like in terms of balance as well. I think certainly he's smooth enough when we get into that shoulder. He's long enough up into that front end. But honestly, where I like this guy as well is when we get right into that chest forward, maybe he gives you a little more dimension to that chest. I think right now he blends a little bit more evenly right over the top of that shoulder as he goes into that foregrip and down into that front girth. I think certainly on this profile, he's laid in well enough into that shoulder. And I do think he's just a tick smoother about the way he's laid into that front end. Right now, at this point of the juncture, I think certainly he just gives you a little more smoothness as far as feeding right into that front end. And I think certainly long term, he's deep enough body as well, and he's easy enough grip. So a really nice set of feeder cats here in this go round. Let's give them all one more nice big round of applause. We'll select your reserve, and then we'll continue to place the third and fourth here in this lineup.
There you go. So that was Reese's other calf, and he just got somebody showing it for him. So he had the reserve and the grand in that class. And you and I talked about that also, Kenzie. If you're going to feed one, you might as well feed a couple, right?
Yeah.
You know, there was only one year that my boys brought multiple steers in because, honestly, most of the time they had a sheep here and they had a horse here and they might have had a rabbit here depending on what they were doing.
Yeah.
But if you're going to come and you're going to concentrate on something, why not bring multiple animals? And that's a good example. Reese Williams just walked away with reserve and grand champion. Now, one thing it's important for our audience to know is it doesn't matter how many animals you bring to the fair, you can only sell one at the auction.
Yeah.
So on Friday, there's going to be a great auction. These kids are going to see great prices for their animals. There's going to be some added value. We like to call that the support price. And the support price gets these kids a little bit more for their project. But a kid can only sell one animal at the auction. Now, they are allowed to sell more animals. In other words, they can consign their animal to be sold on Saturday or Sunday when they're picked up. And they're going to receive market price. And that market price is sometimes a little bit better when the kids sell at the consignment at the fair than it's going to be maybe a dime higher. So, for example, we sold calves last Friday for $240. They averaged 570 pounds. So if our kids were selling here, they might get another dime, and they might average 250, 255. Cattle are high right now this year, so these kids are going to do okay in the consignment. You know, you look at a Reese walking out of there with a 600-pound steer. If he consigns him and he gets 240, or let's say he gets 250, that steer is going to walk out of there weighing 1,800 pounds. Now, he's got a lot in him. He had to buy him. He had to feed him. He had to take care of him. He had to provide his bedding. He had to take care of his vet bills. All those things that are so important. But still, hopefully he's going to come away with some money for his efforts. That's what we're looking for. All right, well, now here, you guys, this is my favorite class, all right? I want you all to set up and take notes, and I can give you a lot of great lessons about belted Galloway. Now, you're excited, Fiona? I know Faith's got to be because her eyes are riveted to this little belted Galloway coming out of here.
There's only one in this class.
Well, let's talk about that.
We have Charlotte Allbaugh
coming
out, 959 pounds.
So let's take a look at a couple things. First of all, Charlotte just punched her ticket to the Grand Drive.
Yeah.
So she's going to be able to come into the championship drive tonight with this 900-pound belted Galloway. I actually saw this calf when he was a kid. You know, there's only two of us in the county raising belted Galloways, us and the Allbaughs, okay? But I love these belted Galloways. Well, Charlotte did a nice job setting him up. You know, a couple of things. I love belted Galloways because, first of all, they're like puppy dogs. They have one of the best dispositions. And, again, I've raised a lot of cattle, and I have a commercial herd of red and black Angus. But my belted Galloway herd, I can walk out into them at any time, and their disposition is just different. I've changed my bloodlines and my breeding in my belted Galloway back to an old English breed. Our steers are finishing out $12.50. You know, we're selling them, you know, right alongside our Angus. The other day we shipped some to Ohio, and I just love the breed. They do grow a little slower. You know, we tend to pasture feed all of our beef, so it takes us a little bit longer to get our belted Galloways to market than it does our Angus calves. But, geez, oh, Pete, I just love them because my grandkids can walk out there. They can pet these calves. We can put a halter on our Galloways, and we can take them where we need to. And for me, that's some really value added. Now, girls, this is one of my second favorite breeds here, all right? Only because this is where all Friel's cattle started years ago. My grandpa raised Herefords. And when my dad got into the cattle business, he raised Herefords also. It wasn't long before that we were realizing that everybody that was raising solid red cattle and solid black cattle was getting more for their calves than we were getting. So we switched and out of the Herefords, and we got into a more commercial breed. But, you know, and again, I think our judge tonight, this Hereford could do well because he likes muscular cows. He likes definition of muscle. Herefords are known from that. They carry themselves well. This is not a bad-looking Hereford.
He's a deep body, deep flank, so really nice representation here in this Hereford division. So let's give them a nice big round of applause.
So you take a look at that Hereford steer was a really, really good steer. We take a look at this next group coming in, and we'll see how that Hereford does in the Grand Drive, but we got another really great example. Kinsey, what can you tell us about the next group of steers coming in?
This next group is the maintainer steers. Again, it's just one. Evan Polonsky, maybe? This is a 1,300-pound cow. So, again, a really heavy steer here, but only one in the class, so another straight ticket to the Grand Drive.
I would not want. Also, I'm Mr. Freels right now. Also, I would not want that cow to step on like my foot or something.
Yeah. As we move here into the steers, we're no longer looking at the feeders. They are getting a lot heavier.
That's a pretty cow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big cow. How much does that one weigh?
1328.
1328. Jeez.
Yeah. So.
But again, weight isn't everything.
Yeah.
Depends on the muscle definition.
Because you are also looking like where does that cow carry its weight specifically? Like, is it mostly fat, or do you have a good amount of muscle on there?
Yep.
Also, as we were saying earlier, looking at height, you don't necessarily just want a tall cow. That's going to be hard, difficult for you to feed, maybe a little more costly.
Thing about that maintainer steer is he comes in there at 1,300 pounds. He's not quite as finished as the Hereford. That Hereford was a 1,400-pound steer, 1,450 actually. So probably a little over-finished for our judge when he gets in tonight, because once we reach a certain age, we're not putting on muscle anymore, we're starting to put on fat. And I don't want to sell fat. I mean, I do, but the packer's not going to want it. So my price isn't going to be quite as high. Take a group of those steers to market, we might be a dime or we might be 15 cents lower than a good group of blacks that are coming in that are not quite over-finished. So one thing I think that maintainer steer has over him is he is 1,300 pounds. He was well muscled. He might stand a nice chance in the Grand Drive tonight with our judge and what our judge is calling. Next breed coming in here is a breed called the Semitol steers, and this group of steers coming in here, there's 4 of them, and this time you're going to really see something that we haven't seen all night yet. Kenzie, tell us about these weights, and then we'll talk about it.
They vary a lot in between the smallest and the largest. We have about 500 pounds.
Talk to me about our lightest steer. Give me a weight, and let's work our way up through them.
Addison Brown coming in with a 1080, so that's our lightest. And then Reese Williams coming in with a 1316. Rudy Scholl coming in with a 1412. And then Bo Martin coming in with a 1544. So there is, from a 1080 to a 1544, pretty big weight difference.
Well, you think about that. Tonight we were talking about how our judge is calling steers that are close, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's had those classes. And now we're going to see a class where we've got 1,000-pound steer in there, okay? 1,080 Addison steers coming in. And up there at Bo Martin steer, you're going to have a steer that is 1,544 pounds. He's what we like to call more than finished. Mm-hmm. Now, depending on commodity prices and where corn's at and where bean meal's at and what your hay supply is and what you've got, sometimes it's okay to finish steers that heavy, because even if I lose a dime, I'm picking up mass, so possibly I'm going to take that, I'm going to finish those steers, and hopefully the market's going to go up. But depending on what you're doing determines on what your profit margin is going to be at the end of the year. And, do you want to sell those 1,350-pound steers at a premium, or do you want to feed a little longer, maybe because you got good commodity prices or you got good feed on hand, and maybe you're going to take a little bit less money, but you're going to be able to bring more meat to the table. Might just be hamburger, but you're bringing more meat. You're bringing more product to the table.
Yeah.
Having a hard time bringing this next group in here. They're getting them all set and trying to get ready to bring the gate in there. They're making a call right now. We got a couple contestants we're waiting on.
Finally, welcome class 19 to the show arena. We have Addison Brown, Reese Williams, Rudy Scholl, and Bo second place will be your champion and reserve. Your champion banner is sponsored by Rebecca Pepperman, and your reserve is sponsored by Richard Coomer.
Well, here you go. Here's why reserve and grand champion is important. The grand champion of this class is going to punch their ticket to the grand drive. But let's say this Simmental steer wins, okay? So let's talk about Reese Williams, right? He's already showed 2 champions today already in his feeders. He's out there again. He's got a great-looking steer. If he punches his ticket to the grand drive, great. But if he doesn't and he gets reserve and one of these other steers wins the grand drive, he'll be allowed to come back in then and show for reserve grand champion of the fair. So this is where we're really going to see what our judge is looking at. He's got a steer out there, like we said, coming in at 1,000 pounds that needs more finishing. He's got another steer out there that is definitely finished at 1,544 pounds. Is he going to look for that muscle, that defined steer again? You know, is he going to be down there in that 1,300 mark where Reese Williams is, or Rudy Schull at 1,412, looking for that muscle definition? Or is he going to punch it all the way up there to that big steer that's really, really showing a lot of definition, a lot of muscle, got some length out there? Where is our judge going to land? Girls, you'll notice he's talking to the contestants a little bit. He's asking some questions tonight, just as I would if I was out there. And the first question I'm going to ask is, how much does he weigh? Because first of all, I want to make sure the contestant knows, okay? You saw him ask right there what he weighed at. You know, I want to know, okay, is this steer as big as I think, okay? And a contestant tells me his weight, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. And I might also ask him an age, okay? Now, in 4-H, we have to have them registered by a certain point. But I might also want to know what their age is. You know, how long did it take them to get to this weight?
Yeah.
But those are 2 things that are going to help me as a judge make a better decision about which calf I'm going to pick out there, which steer I want to send to market, or which steer do I want to back a semi up and pick up 20 of them as opposed to maybe another steer in the class. I always like to tell you know, young 4-H kids and I like FFA kids, you know, when I'm picking a cow, which cow out there do you want 20 of? Which cow do you want 20 of them right now to take to market or standing in your feedlot? And if it's heifers, which ones do I want people to drive by and say, okay, there's the 20 heifers I like, or the 20 cows I like, or there's the 20 steers I want to buy? And, you know, I'm looking at this class, and for me, I already picked one out, girls. To me, I've got a real clear choice out there. But again, it depends on what you're looking for, right? Faith, point to me. Which one do you like out there? Fiona, you picking yours out? Oh, you're going to go. Okay, I see. You're picking Reese Williams calves. Fiona, which one are you picking?
First one.
You're going to go with the very first one. Okay. All right, so you're going with our lightest steer in the class, all right? Mackenzie, what do you think?
I think I'm going with the second one also.
You're going to go with Reese's steer also, okay? Well, here's what we're going to find out. Well, I'll be right up front, so I can't, you know, be accused of changing my mind. I'm also going to pick Reese Williams steer. But you know what? What do we know? We're just announcers. We work for the television station, right? Really appreciate our judge tonight. He's doing a great job explaining what he's looking for. He's talking to our contestants, really pumping them up, telling some positive things about their steers, no matter whether they're first in their class or last in their class. He's got something nice to say just about everything. Well, I'll tell you what, the BTV crew just went 4-4-4, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
Shoulder in comparison to that class winner, a little more open about that shoulder, a little rounder about that front end, a little heavier down through that brisket. But I think in terms of moderation, in terms of frame size, a little more correct, a little leveler down that top, a little leveler from hooks to pins in comparison to Captain comes next. Captain comes next here in this line. It starts to hit in those 1,500 pounds, getting a little bit big. But, you know, in terms of muscle shape, he's thick enough, mate. He's got enough muscle shape to him. Not as evenly balanced here. Wants to drop right at the point of that shoulder, doesn't go into the top of that shoulder as well. Tends to want to roast that top line just a little bit more when we put him into motion. Captain comes next in this lineup, balances up well enough. I think he's smooth enough shouldered. I think he's level enough pushing as much fat and finish here in this particular lineup to move on up. But a really nice set of Simmental steers here in this go around. So let's give them all another nice big round of applause.
Well, and again, I want to thank our judge, man. He's doing a great job of pumping these kids up, finding something positive about their steers to talk about, and doing a great job. But I don't disagree. Girls, we all call that. I think Reese Williams got a great shot in the grand drive tonight.
Yeah.
The Simmental, it's a great breed. That steer is finished out. It's got plenty of length like he liked. He liked the muscle. He liked the way it finished out. Prime cuts going across the top. It won't surprise me if our judge makes a really, really nice run with that Simmental steer. Now, they're going to bring in the crossbred steers. Now, what that means, there's going to be two classes of these girls. So this isn't a breed. They're not a Simmental. They're not a Hereford. They're not a Belted Galloway. This is a crossbred steer. In other words, these could be coming out of Angus cows, and they could be bred to a Simmental bull. Typically, you see a lot of crossbred steers come in black, just like you're seeing right here. This can be, any breed crossbred with another breed. It's just not a pure breed. Mackenzie, give us the breakdown of this first class of crossbred steers.
This does have 4 cows. Our weights are ranging from 941 to 1220. So another, not as big as the last difference that we had, but another weight difference. We have Lillian Crusher with a 941, Elijah Hankey with a 1086, Lydia Pranger with a 1172, and Emma Brown with a 1220.
Well, I'll tell you what, we definitely got some seasoned 4-H'ers out here right now. We see these kids in the sheep show. Crushers crushed it the other night, not to, coin a phrase. But, they did a great job. And these kids are out here showing in multiple places and really got their animals set up really nice. We do have a light steer out there. That 900-pound steer, just not quite as finished. That's Lillian's only thing. She's got a steer, and our judge all night tonight has been looking for muscle. He's been looking for mass. Now, he did, remember, award a lighter steer earlier tonight. So you never know. Maybe he'll see something. But you got another steer out here that finishes out there at, 200 pounds heavier than the other steer. 220 versus 941, really almost 260 pounds. Giving that steer a chance to show off what it's got. And I can't help but think my call is probably going to be the Emma Brown steer here. He's out there, got his hands on it now, right, trying to get a weight on it. Girls, what is your calls? Taggart?
I think I'm going to agree with you on that one. Maybe going for, I don't know who that guy is. Is that Elijah Hankey, it says.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think his is looking nice too, but I think, again, the Emma Brown has the most.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I like Elijah's steer a lot. He comes in at 1,080, looks great. All 4 of these steers just looking fantastic. But, all of a sudden we've got a steer that's just finished a little bit farther so the judge can take a look at a few more things. And that's nothing. Our competitors have done a phenomenal job here. But, when you pick your calf, you're hoping you can get that rate of gain up there. You weigh your calf. Somebody's going to win a rate of gain trophy. Whose steer gained the most per day? But, if you're pushing the feed to him and you're going to try to get that calf moving and you're trying to get, 2.5, 3, or more pounds a day out of that steer and get him gaining. But the other thing is, and this is worth noting to a lot of our listeners, we've got kids that want to show their steer at the state fair. Well, that was a month ago. So then you try to have your steer finished for the state fair and then hold it for our fair. Because you don't want it coming in too heavy. You don't want it coming in too fat. But you got to be big enough when you're at the state fair to make sure that you can make a good showing there. We have contestants that raise 2 different steers. One steer to go to the state fair, another steer to come to here. So it is kind of, tough for our kids, depending on how they're going to, or maybe they'll raise 2 like we saw earlier today. We've got competitors out there with multiple steers. So, maybe they're showing one steer that they wanted ready for the state fair, and they had another steer that they wanted to make sure it was ready for this county fair. Well, our judge definitely taking his time on this class, and I can see why. It was really, really a great-looking class. You look at these crossbred steers, he's going to start putting them out there now. Well, there you have it again. The BTV crew crushes it one more time. Nice job, Taggart. Fist bump there.
Yeah.
The young ladies cap that's going to lead off this class here, very complete about his type and kind. I think for me in this particular class, he handles the very level, very correct in terms of weight. Comes down that top line, out of that hip. You like him in that front end. He's very good smoothing up into that shoulder. He starts to give you that overall meat animal shape to him in terms of depth of body, depth of flank. So a very complete type of a calf here to lead off your class. Calf that comes next here in this lineup, heavy enough muscle type of a calf that has some credibility to him in terms of muscle shape and dimension. Now, he's not carrying as much fat and finish to it. It goes that 12th to 13th rib, handles with just a little more patchiness about that finish. Comes off being just a little more down right in the middle of that back in comparison to that calf that leads off the class. But I do like him in terms of skeletal width and dimension. I think he's a wide enough base type of a calf and heavy enough muscle type of a calf. Calf that comes next in the lineup, complete enough about his type and kind. I think in this particular class, gives up some overall weight and overall fat and finish here in this lineup. Just not as much overall muscle shape in terms of the way he comes right behind. He gets a little flatter, a little tapered, a little narrower base, so he walks off there behind you. Then the calf that comes next here in this lineup, a little larger scale type of a calf in terms of length of cannon bone there, a little patchier, a little barer in terms of in terms of handling of fat and finish here in this particular go round. But a nice set of calves there to start off that crossbred division. So let's give him one more nice big round of applause.
Another big thank you to our judge, doing a really, really nice job there of making sure he pumps these calves up and talks about them. Again, though, we're seeing a real pattern here, and I don't disagree with him. I agree. You got to have a good muscled, finished calf if you're going to receive top dollar. And I think our judge is spot on tonight when he's calling these cattle. Like what we've seen so far. Now, we got another group of Semitalls coming in here, but they're a little heavier. Where do they weigh in at, Mackenzie?
These are the crossbred steer. We have Rosalind Allball coming in with a 12:30, Paige Crusher coming in with a 13:36, Stella Dickerhoff coming in with a 13:54, and then Brantley Aldrich coming in with a 13:62.
So a little bigger steers, all finished almost perfect, though, 1,360 pounds, Well, and the judge talked to us a little bit ago about over finishing maybe, but all of these steers coming in here really, really nice. Really, really good group of steers, and they're pretty darn close. When you think about those weights, okay, going from 1230 to 1360, only 130 pounds between them, but that is enough to make a difference. Will our judge absolutely go with the heavier steer? I don't think so. We saw him go with some different conformation and some different muscle mass earlier today. So it's not just that the biggest steer is going to win. He truly is looking for the steer that he thinks is representing the market the best and going to be able to send quality product out.
I think I might be liking the lightest one out there at
So
the end.
you're liking Rosalind Allbaw's steer down there, huh?
Yeah.
Really nice steer. She's doing a great job keeping it set up, getting it ready to go. Really like it. I really like the Crusher steer, that Baldy that's out there, coming in at 13:36. Now, it is worth noting, though, that three of these steers are all close, 13:36, 13:54, and 13:62. So they're all carrying themselves very, very familiar. But, we talked about frame earlier today. We'll look at how much shorter right now, if you look at Dickerhoff steer, it is than the others. So maybe not quite as much frame, but as you heard earlier today, it doesn't necessarily mean that we need a big frame to him because that's a lot to carry, okay?
Yeah.
But they do have enough frame to carry themselves. Now, these are finished steers. We're not worried about them putting on another 200, 300 pounds. They're ready for market. So I'm okay with a shorter steer right there as long as he finishes out in length. He finishes out in breadth. We got good quality of meat in the loins, over the forerib, out in front. I like to see how they carry themselves through the front, through that brisket area. The brisket area has become such a prime area right now for sale. So, right now, really, really good looking set. I'm not quite sure where I'm leaning right during this one right now. This is going to be tough. I really do like Crusher's Baldy. I think he's got some great back, great length right there.
I don't know if it's just this angle, but he almost seems a little bit shorter than the other ones, lengthwise.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. You look at where his pinions are, where his points are, where his hips are, all right? And, we know that when we come off of that roast in the back, we come up off of that rump, then we're starting to get into some real cuts across the back, We're picking up all of those porterhouses, those sirloins, those T-bone steaks coming across there, that loin inside. So the longer that is, the more quality of product we're going to get and be able to take to market. And I don't disagree with you. When I think about length of loin right there, maybe just a tiny bit shorter. But again, until you get your hands on them, you don't really know.
Yeah.
That is one thing I like about Dickerhoff steer. You know, it seems to be maybe just a tiny bit longer, maybe just a little bit more muscled. Our judge has been looking for that all day. Will he go with the more muscled steer? This is a close one right here. I just don't know that I can make the call. And this is another one of those nights. I'm glad I'm not on the sawdust. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, because you want all of these kids to win. I think that's one of the hardest calls to make anytime you are the subjective judge out there and somebody's relying on you to make the call. And I can remember sitting in the stands watching the judges, you know, call my kids as animals, whether it was their rabbits or their sheep or their horse or whether it was their cow. In the end, you just have to agree that the judge did his best that he could. And, you know, I appreciate our judge tonight, man. He's been really consistent. He's really, really called a great show. So that's a positive for me as a parent. You know, I walk out and I say, hey, I'm glad to know that we've got people dedicating their time to continue to make our kids, you know, the very best 4-H'ers and our future farmers. That's what we're after. We want kids that understand the business that can come back in and take over for us. Kind of like Fiona here. You know, if nobody takes over the rabbit business, who's going to keep rabbits going, right, Fiona? When I quit, I'm going to need to buy eggs from somebody, Fiona. Okay, so you're going to have to amp your egg production up here a little bit. So when I get out of it, you're going to have to, you know, take over. Okay. Maybe that'll be part of this Plymouth Rock deal. Maybe I just get a percentage of eggs for the indefinite future. Problem is, percentage of eggs could mean 0. All right. Well, hey, our judge is definitely taking his time on these crossbred steers. You know, the other thing it's worth noting, girls, and and I would just point this out, that a lot of times a crossbred steer rises to the top because they have the best qualities of maybe 2 different breeds. So we would take maybe a Semitol steer we really, really like, and then we're going to take a Angus that we really, really like, and we're going to put them together to get the best qualities of both of those breeds. And it is not uncommon for these crossbred steers to rise to the top of a grand drive for that reason. Well, this is kind of like we called a little earlier. I really like Dickerhoff steer. I think she's got a great chance of trying to set that up. You know, Roseland Allball steer, the lightest one in the class at 1230, but you know he's going to like that. But to me, I just think he's probably going to go with the Dickerhoff steer, a little bit more muscle. He's been calling muscle, so that's where I'm going. Where are you going, Taggart? Which steer? You going black or brown?
I think I don't know. I still like the Rosalind right here.
I do too. I think it's a great looking steer. I just think it's not quite as muscle defined.
Yeah, looking from the back of the one that you were calling, it does look more muscular from the back.
Well, we'll see where our judge goes. I love that he's putting this much time into it and this much effort. He's talking to our contestants. He just asked to wait here again, trying to figure out exactly what he wants to do. This is a great class out there. Again, we talked about this a little bit ago, girls, but I'd take 20 of these steers. It doesn't matter. All of them would look great in the lot. All of them would look great going to market. These kids have done a fantastic job of having them prepared tonight. They're fitted nice. They're ready to go. Our judges, and this is a big decision for him because right now, kids, whoever he puts first here is going to punch a ticket to the grand drive as the heavy crossbred, and that's a favorite sometimes. But it also means that the reserve gets a chance to come back in. They could go 1-2, and there you're going to go. He is going to go with the Dickerhoff steer, that little heavier steer, 1354, I think so. Although he wants to see him walk one more time. Our judge really, really taking his time here, taking a look at things. Fiona, red or black? What do you think?
Let's go with red.
She's going with red. All right. She's a nice red person, too, though. She likes chickens that have lots of colors. Okay. Faith, do you have an opinion?
Even now, like looking at the other one that was coming in, the Page Crusher, I don't know, like watching them walk from like behind and like the muscle definition in their legs.
Well, and I don't disagree with you.
off.
You know, I think there's some really merit to that. But one thing you got to remember, too, our leg is not necessarily a high-quality cut.
Yeah.
You know, it's not where we want them to carry a lot of weight. Now, we fit them so they look sound and can carry themselves. And these kids have got them trimmed really well, got their legs looking nice. But I don't need a lot of muscle definition down there or extra fat in the leg. It's just not a high cut. You know, they're going to take that shank and they're going to sell it out. It's going to be a low quality cut of meat. It's going to bring low cost. So I need that muscle to be back up there where it's defined up higher on that steer. Um, but again, I really appreciate our judges taking his time on this crossbred heavyweight class, because this is telling us a lot about how he's going to call the grand drive later. And can one of our breed steers jump up and knock one of these crossbred steers off? We'll see. Stay tuned for that grand drive coming in soon. Love, love, love the way our judge is just taking his time, just looking at him. And again, girls, I can't overemphasize this is a big decision, because you put one of these steers in first, you're not going to put the other steer over him later. And you don't want to see him walk back into the ring later as the reserve and say, ooh, maybe I missed something.
Yeah.
So he's really doing a nice job taking his time here, making sure he's thinking ahead. You know, I'm going to put these steers in an order that I like and send them out there. And they are both great-looking steers, both really, really close, you know. Roseland's steer at 12:30, okay. Stella Dickeroff steer at 13:54. So there is 120 pounds different. And tonight so far, that's what the judge has been going with, that more muscled steer. And that would be the black steer, this black crossbred out here. But we'll see. There's something that he sure likes in this red steer. All right, well, there you have it. There you have it. He's going to send Rosalind Albo up there to the champion of this division.
As we come up on here, honestly, the deciding point in my mind here on this red calf is I do think he's a little more correct in terms of the way he's designed, in terms of structure, in terms of balance. I think he handles himself easier when he gets out around the ring. I like him in terms of that overall dimension and completeness that he carries. I think he's very smooth about that front end. I think he's a little longer front end about the way he gets out here.
You don't want to chew in your microphone?
Overall completeness and balance, and I like, when we get out on that move, I think Sirleaf, he stretches out, he's long enough down that spine, he's long enough out of that hip, he flexes out just to take longer, a little bit easier than that calf is going to be in second. The calf that's in second here, I really like in terms of muscle shape. I really like him in terms of that depth of body. Now, I do think weight-wise, maybe he's starting to get just a tick bigger in terms of the overall weight and where he's handling himself. I don't think he handles himself as well off those back legs when we put him into motion, but he's a calf that you like in terms of that overall, the standstill on that profile. He's deep body, he's big rib, he's loose rib, he's easy rib, and he really take advantage of that. I just like the change when we put him into motion. I like the flexing out a little bit longer off those back legs. I like the blending just to take more about that shoulder. Gets just a little more open, a little bolder about that front end. Black and white calf that comes next here in this lineup, I think heavy enough muscle in the way he's designed. A little rounder about his type of kind, a little rounder over that hip, a little rounder when we start to get muscle shape down into that lower cycle. Calf that comes next here in this particular lineup, long body, long top type of a calf, just a little flatter about his overall muscle shape, not as heavily muscle when we get right into the center of that back, into the top of that shoulder, and he's a little flatter, more elongated about that muscle shape down into that lower cycle. But a really nice set of calves there at that go rounds. Let's give all those exhibitors another nice big round of applause.
Well, that explained a lot for us why he was taking his time. You know, he's been talking about length all night, and he had one steer that he really liked the length on, and he liked the muscle on the other one, and putting them both together, which one was up, they were so close that he went with the steer that was a little bit longer. Now, we'll see what happens when we get to the grand drive here. Now, first we got to get to the grand champion feeder here. And so, will he go with the red steer again, or will he pick that steer that was just a little bit lighter from that class right before him? Well, we're about to see here. He really liked Crusher steer. Okay, so let's see what happens.
Rosalind Albo and Stella Dickeroff. This is for your champion crossbred steer. Your champion banners are sponsored by Mike and Diane Heffley family, and your reserve are sponsored by Pearson Property Management.
Well, there you have it. You got your 2 championship steers set up here in front. Your 2 reserves behind them. You know, will he just go 1-2 on the class like he is here? He's got Crusher's steer out there. Oh, excuse me, Emma Brown's steer out there at 12.20, and he's got Roseland Allballs in there at 12.30. They're within 10 pounds of each other. Got a lot of work next week.
Structure in terms of the way he gets out there. I think he handles himself well enough in terms of bat and finish. And then as we fill in for the reserve spot, there's a cat that I just really like in terms of that overall root shape and dimension. You know, maybe not as long front, maybe a little stiffer on those back legs, but easy doing about feeding ability and overall root shape and dimension. So a nice set of calves here in this crossbred division. Let's give them all another nice big round of applause. We'll select the champion and reserve here in this.
Well, to me, it sounds like he's got his mind made up, but he did a lot of work during the class, so it didn't take him long to make his mind up. And there you have it. He's going to go with that Roseland Allbaugh steer. She's going to be the champion, and he's going to go with the 2 heavy steers right off the bat. Well, like we talked earlier, okay, so Roseland just punches her ticket to the Grand Drive, but that also sets up a nice chance for the runner-up steer of that, okay, to get back in there also and see what happens when Brantley Aldrich steer comes back in there. So, hey, great job. Now, girls, this next one I really, really like. You're going to have another one of the Allbaugh kids coming in, because to be in this next class, you had to be born in the county, okay? So this would be like you could only compete for Miss Indiana if you were born in Miss Indiana, not just moving to Miss Indiana, okay? Or like you couldn't compete for Miss Tennessee, okay, if you weren't born in Tennessee.
Yeah.
You can't just move there.
So all these cows were born in DeKalb County.
That's right. All of these steers,
Not the
these
people.
3, not the people.
Okay.
Not the people. It doesn't
Just
matter where you
clarifying.
were born, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right, although that'd be interesting. We could have a county-born exhibitor and county-born steer. That could really limit things up.
Yeah.
3 of them. Now, this means these steers were born in the county someplace. So somebody had a herd here, and these steers were bought here in the county. We added this several years ago, and it gives somebody a chance to punch their ticket and be able to get to the final drive by raising a steer that's in the county. Now, what's the significance of that? Well, there are steer shows all over the country where you can go and buy a feeder steer and feed it out. You can drive to Minnesota. You can go to Kentucky. You can go out west, Colorado. I mean, every state has a beef show somewhere where I can just go and buy a calf for my kids to show. Or I can make them show something that was born right here at home. And, you know, in defense of my young sons, if they're listening now, and they're not young anymore, not with 5 grandkids here, but I made them show a steer out of the herd until they got to be a senior. And then we stepped out and bought a confirmation steer that was out of our herd. But, you know, I always wanted them to know that, hey, this is what we raise, this is why we raise them, and I want you to show what we raise. Well, I'm not saying, you know, they never placed super high, never won the Grand Drive, okay? They won their class several times, but never won the Grand Drive. And then when we added the county-born one, oh, that changes things. Now you're only competing against those kids that are county-born steers. So this is going to be exciting here. Now we are going to get we're going to end up getting a champion here of our beef steers, you know, on these county-borns. And what's happening is we're going to bring that to you live, and then we are going to take a break tonight before we go to showmanship. And when we decide to go to showmanship, that's going to be a separate stream. The girls are going to be bringing that to you tonight. We're excited about that. And that's where we're actually judging these kids, not their steers. And girls, you've learned a lot about that this week. Right now, you know, the judge is still watching what our exhibitor does, but he's definitely judging the steer. He's taking a look at these 3 county-born steers out there, and really good-looking county-born steers. And he's saying, okay, which one of these steers is going to rise to the class? And I'll tell you, this is kind of a wash for me right here. I don't know. These are 3 really, really good-looking steers out here. One's a little bit longer than the other. They've got a steer out here that's got some really, really, really nice muscle definition. Our judge has been loving that all night. So, you know, will he go that direction? Gone interested, but one of these kids is going to punch their ticket into the Grand Drive, which is coming up, kids.
I think I'm liking this. Last one, this guy in the red shirt that has.
Well, you know, he does have some length. He's got some width across the top of him, meaning his loin is going to be great. We're going to have some beautiful T-bone steaks. Man, when I take a look at that back when he just walked around here, I just wanted to go home and fire the smoker up. Okay, and that's my preferred way to do steaks right now. Okay, so I like to put them on the smoker, slow cook them, you know, and I'm looking at those and I'm thinking that's going to be a really, really nice T-bone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know you're probably looking at it. See, the tail looks really cute, weren't you, Faith? Yeah,
I was
know,
thinking
okay.
it looks really fluffy.
Yeah,
I like the
there you
haircut
go.
on it.
Yeah, that's right.
But also, like, the fluff could be making it look bigger than it actually is.
Well, and you know, you hit that. I'm glad you said that because we come back to what we talked about earlier, fitting the cow, getting its haircut. And I'll be honest with you, back when we were showing a lot, I was one of those guys that I think we should have just slick shorn them. We're going to shave it all off and let me see what they really look like. I don't care who can give the best haircut. What I want to know is who's raising the best cow. And what we did there, we have what's called a carcass show, or they used to. I don't know if that still exists, but it used to be. And then if you wanted to enter the carcass show, you sent it to market, and when they were all hanging on the rack, on the hook, then the judge came in and said, okay, this is the best cow. And there was nothing there. There was no competitor, no exhibitor. It was just, that's the best one. Well, you called it, Mackenzie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, they do. Fiona just pointed out, and I really like that fact, that there is a beef carcass class, and the kids that are entered in that are listed in the program, which I love to know now that is still going on, because that's a really good thing to have. Yeah.
Stephanie came in earlier and was talking about it. She said now they actually like ultrasound the cows to see the meat instead of having to wait to send them to the market
All
and
right,
see
so
what they're going to look like.
you know, what I really appreciate about that is we're going to be able to have those results then tonight. So those calves have been ultrasounded instead. So yeah, I love that. Well, you can tell since we've been out of a little bit, I love the fact that they're using technology to take a closer look at what's going on with that carcass class.
Second, Isabel Alba. Third, Jordy Seaver. And that was your champion and James.
We've got the new Miss DeKalb County out here passing out the awards to our
We'll now bring in
champions tonight.
Gotta love that, the pageant the other night.
classes 16 through 22 champions for the grand drive.
All right, well, here we go. We're headed into the grand drive.
White steer, exhibited by Charlotte Alba. Hereford steer, exhibited by Leah Crusher.
Leah Crusher bringing a steer in here. We've seen all these steers tonight. All bone with my favorite out there, the belted Galloway.
By Evan Polinsky. Semitol steer, exhibited by Reese Williams.
Well, there's that tan one again that we really liked earlier.
Well, and you know, we talked about that maintainer steer, and our judge loved his muscle definition. Remember, our Hereford was a lot heavier, 1,500 pounds. Our judge liked him, but a much heavier, maybe in a little over finished steer, but he loved that maintainer steer to his muscle. But he's also really took his time on that crossbred group.
Exhibited by James Clifford.
So now you've got them all coming in.
Your grand champion banners are sponsored by the Josh Clifford Memorial Foundation. Your reserve grand champion is sponsored by Ryan.
Well, this is the drive you always want to be in, girls. We call this the Grand Champion Drive. This is the drive where somebody's going to have the championship steer. Traditionally, it brings the most at the market. It's usually the highest priced steer in the entire auction. Some years that steer has brought 10,000 plus. Back in the old days, it even brought higher. I can remember legendary Bob White, who used to own the local grocery store, would always pay top dollar for a steer coming out. So whoever wins this drive, they also know they're probably punching a ticket at the auction for part of their college education. And it's also a stamp on you did a great job. You raised your steer, you did a nice job, you brought it to market, you finished it out, and you deserve this. So our auction committee, they do a phenomenal job raising support. All of our kids will come away and have some really, really nice stuff happening. So that's going to be exciting. For that happens on Friday. We'll be streaming that to you. It starts in the morning, but we'll have the auction set up. We love our new Sky Cam. We'll have better coverage of the auction year with Sky Cam, we like to call it. Have you guys named it yet? Beb? Billy the Sky Cam, I'm told on it.
I did not know that.
I didn't know either, but we're talking about Billy now, you know. Well, you know, you never know. It could have been Luke or, you know, you never name, but it's Billy. So there we go.
This is our BTV dolphin.
Oh, we have a BTV dolphin
yeah,
now.
Faith won us a little dolphin last night.
Down at the fair?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. So while you took a break from the chicken show, you were down winning Billy.
It was Faith.
Oh, Faith won it. Oh, that's right. You were at the fair last night. I didn't know that. Did you have a good time at the fair last night, Faith? Oh, you're Marin. You and Marin had a phenomenal time. That's fantastic, okay? Well, way to represent and, you know, take it for the team, go down and represent us at the fair, Faith. Really loved it. What's the Dolphins' name? Symphony. Okay, I like that. Symphony. I love that. Well, you should bring Billy around and get a shot of Symphony here real quick, Fiona. Yeah, let's get that. We got these steers going on. But, yeah, we'll just flash in once here in a while.
I'll just hold it up.
Going to hold it up here as we watch our judge do a little bit, but we'll give you an insight. Big shout-out to our kids here. You know, they've been here all week working and trying to figure out, you know, what can they do to really, really do a great job for you. There you go. Kinsey's going to wave it at you. Yeah, Kinsey, wave. There's our little dolphin. That's Symphony from the Okay, there you go.
Swimming around.
Well, we're back to the steers, which we know you're more interested in than our dolphin.
I mean, you never know.
Thank you, Faith. Okay, we appreciate that. Okay.
I think here I'm going to go with either Reese with the black one. Or wait, no. Yeah, either that maintainer steer or the other black one right behind it.
Yeah, you know, this is really going to be really, really tough class for me to call if I'm calling it. You know, I love the fact that the judge is taking his time all night, all right, calling these steers because he's looked at them all over and over and he's got a lot going on in his mind. And granted, you know, right now, hopefully he's got an idea. He's going to place him out here, and he's going to crown the grand champion steer. And then we're going to bring another reserve in, and he's going to, crown a grand champion reserve grand champion. Yeah, I really like William's steer. I think he's a really good-looking steer. I like it. The judge liked it. I think it's going to come down to either him or the maintainer steer. I think both those boys did a really, really nice job of getting their steers ready and having it ready. You know, when we think about that maintainer steer that Evans got out there, you know, he's a 1,328-pound steer. So, you know, he's going to be really, really, really close to coming in there and fighting to get that William Reese steer, which is another 1,300-pound steer. And I do think it's going to come down to either that Semitol steer that Reese has got out there, or it's going to come down to this maintainer. But, you know, that's me, and that's why I appreciate our judge here spending so much time tonight doing it. Jimmy Clifford, well, all these steers, they just all got such great, great steers out there tonight.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Jimmy steer, you know, you look at him, he's a county-born steer, that white face out there. So, you know, but you look at that Semitol being walked out there. The judge talked about how he liked his length and combination of muscle. You look at that maintainer steer, and the judge talked a lot about him tonight, about he liked the definition of muscle there. So now the judge has just got to come to a decision on which one of those characteristics he talked so highly about tonight is going to push this star to the grand champion steer. Contestants doing a great job tonight, working with their steers, keeping them set up. Cattle numbers down just a little bit this year. It's a really expensive project, you know, absence of some breeds. We didn't have any Angus here this year. We didn't have any Charolais. You know, so there's some breeds missing from the show, but obviously the kids that did commit to doing the project have done a great job with their steers. And in today's market, when it takes a lot of money to finish a steer out, these kids have done a phenomenal job with the support of their family, with the support of their relatives, you know, and it takes a family. And also the entire 4-H family just helping them get it done. Oh, here we go.
Let's give these exhibitors a nice big round of applause here as we line this up. The difference in the representation of all markets here. I think an outstanding set of cattle here this evening. I think certainly as we work through each of those divisions, some differences in breed type and breed characteristics, and some differences in how those cattle went together. Obviously, some different competition in each of those divisions, but you know, as we try to get through there in my mind, we try to find some cattle that were complete enough in their type and kind, that were balanced enough in their type and kind. I know some of those divisions have maybe some differences in between that champion and reserve in each of their divisions, but you know, we put the parts and pieces together. We try to find, in my mind, some cattle that are very complete about their type and kind, that give you some length of body, that give you some length of dimension.
A couple of these kids doing some really good things here. Clifford took him out there one more time to set him up. Williams did the same thing when he saw him did it. Playing some showmanship now. They wanted to give the judge one more quick look before he made his mind up for sure. I noticed Williams a minute. Clifford went out there and circled him to get him set back up one more time. Williams did the same thing. Wants to get the judge to look at him one more time. He's talking about length. He's talked about that a lot tonight. So is he going to go length over muscle?
This is the first time I've been here to DeKalb County, so I appreciate the invitation. Certainly a great group of kids, a great group of young folks here, a great group of cattle as well. So with that, I think an outstanding set of cattle and kids. Let's give these exhibitors one more nice big round of applause. We'll take one more look at them here. Let's not get thinking over our markets here.
Well, he talked about going with a little longer steer. He said earlier 2 of these calves were his choice for that. We'll see where he's headed. He's definitely looking them over. All 3 of those top competitors knew who they were. They did extra effort to set their calves up one more time to give him one more look. They've really worked hard to get their cattle in front of the judge and making sure that they took care of business. Judge is getting close. He's taking another rear look. Here he goes. Is he going to shake a hand or smack a butt? There you go. Our county-born steer. So little Jimmy Clifford gets it done again. He's been showing great steers, doing a great job. And a county-born steer. So born here, shown here, wins here.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, I really do. And a good quality steer there. Of course, the Cliffords have been showing good cattle for a long time. Now they're bringing in that other county-born steer of Allbars because now they have to compare that Allbar steer against everybody else. But I'm going to really be surprised if he doesn't go with the Williams steer or the Maintainer steer. I just think he talks so positively about those steers either that I can't imagine that he's not going to give Evan Polisky's steer a shot or Williams, but you just never know. Sounding like he's headed towards Reese Williams, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. He's going with that muscled
Ooh.
steer, that maintainer steer. Evan Polisky's going to be reserve grand champion.
Your reserve champion market steer goes to Evan Polinsky.
Really good looking steer, but you know the judge liked him when he came in, you know, so put a maintainer steer up like that in the top of the class in the grand
Yeah.
drive. Judge made it really clear what he was looking for earlier in the day. He didn't contradict himself at all here. Done a really nice job of calling. And again, I like the way the judge said it's subjective. Anybody on any given evening night. You know, if we had a different judge here, he might have called the class completely different. Might have had the three of them in a different order. But no doubt he put the three steers that he's liked all night. He talked a lot about them right at the top of the class. So been a real consistent judge for us, and we got to like that about him. We appreciate his time, appreciate his efforts tonight. Well, we got 1, 2, 3. He's looking for the fourth place steer. Fourth overall, trying to take a look at what he looks like. So Rosalind Allbaugh is going to punch a ticket right there with a really, really nice steer. So
Congratulations to all the exhibitors. We will get started on Pee Wee showmanship here shortly.
well, there you go. That's going to conclude our 2024 beef show. Taggart, give me something you learned today about beef. You already told me one thing about frame.
Yeah, I did. I learned a lot about frame. I think that's the main thing. It's like thinking about how much you can really get off a market. Like before I came here, I would think you want the biggest cow, but that's not always like the case. Especially like yesterday in the swine show, they talked about you always have to think about what it's going to look like with 100 more pounds on it, or however much. Like once you get it filled out properly, and like a bigger frame isn't always the best. It might be more expensive to get it like fed up and filled out properly.
Well, and that's the key. You know, not only are they learning in the ring, but we're learning up here, so it's been really, really great. So, hey, want to big shout out again to our judge tonight for being here with us. Big shout out to all the competitors, and that's going to conclude our 2024 beef show here at the DeKalb County Fair. So stay tuned. Showmanship's going to be coming to you soon, but we are thrilled that you've joined us for the beef show this year. And stay tuned to Auburn Essential Network, and so we're your community network keeps trying to bring you community events that you are interested in and are going on in our community. So from all of us here at BTV, stay tuned for the showmanship, and we will be right back.